Not every love story begins with roses and romance. Some begin in the shadows of old buildings where mystery and discomfort walk hand in hand. This tale isn't about beauty or charm, but about the unexpected human heart that hides beneath a rugged shell. It's a story you won't forget. Her lover, an acquaintance of mine, once told me the following story. When I was a student in Moscow, I happened to live across from one of those women whose reputation was questionable. She was a Pole and they called her Teresa. She was a tall, powerfully built brunette with black bushy eyebrows and a large, coarse face, as if carved by a hatchet. The beast-like gleam of her dark eyes, her deep, harsh voice, her cabman-like gait, and her muscular vigor worthy of a fishwife, filled me with horror. I lived on the top floor and her garret was opposite mine. I never left my door open when I knew she was at home, but this, thankfully, was a rare occurrence. Sometimes I would chance upon her in the stairwell or the yard, and she would smile at me with a grin that seemed both slain and cynical. Occasionally I saw her drunk, with bleary eyes, disheveled hair, and a grotesque grin. On such occasions she would speak to me.
"How do you do, Mr. Student?" And her stupid laugh would only increase my loathing. I often wished to change rooms just to avoid such encounters, but my little chamber was comfortable, had a wide view from the window, and was always quiet. So I endured. One morning, as I lay sprawling on my couch, trying to justify not going to class, the door suddenly opened. Teresa's grating voice sounded from the threshold. "Good health to you, Mr. Student. What do you want?" I asked. I noticed her face looked different, confused, even pleading. A very unusual expression for her. "Sir, I want to beg a favor of you. Will you grant it?" I stayed silent and thought to myself. "Gracious, courage, my boy. I want to send a letter home," she said. Her voice was soft, beseeching, almost timid. Damn it, I thought, but I jumped up, sat down at the table, pulled out a sheet of paper and said, "Come, sit here and dictate." She came, sat down gingerly, and looked at me with a guilty expression. "To whom do you want to write?" "To Boleslav Kasputin, at the town of Zbekvitsyana, on the war starboard." "All right. Fire away." "My dear Bowles, my darling, my faithful lover, may the Mother of God protect your vow-hearted soul. Why have you not written for so long to your sorrowing little dove, Teresa?" I nearly burst out laughing. Little dove? More than 5 feet tall, fists like hammers, and dark as a chimney sweep who never once washed herself. Restraining myself somehow, I asked. "Who is this Bowles, Mr. Student?" she repeated, as if offended by my mispronunciation. "He is Bowles, my young man." "Young man? Why are you so surprised, sir? Can't a girl have a young man?" "She? A girl? You?" "Oh, why not?" she said sharply. "All things are possible." "And has he been your young man long?" 6 years. "Ah," I thought. "Well, let's write your letter then. And I tell you plainly, I would gladly have switched places with this Polish fellow, if only this correspondent had been someone other than Teresa. I thank you most heartily, sir, for your kind services," said Teresa with a curtsy. "Perhaps I can offer you a service in return?" "No, I most humbly thank you all the same. Perhaps your shirts or trousers need a little mending?" At that, I felt like this mastodon in petticoats had made me blush a deep red with embarrassment. I told her, rather sharply, that I had no need whatsoever of her services. She nodded silently and departed. A week or two passed. It was evening. I sat at my window, whistling, trying to find some distraction to help me escape from myself. I was bored. The weather was foul. I didn't want to go out. Out of sheer ennui, I began the usual ritual of self-analysis and reflection. That, too, was dull work, but I couldn't bring myself to do anything else. Then, the door opened. Heaven be praised, someone came in. "Oh, Mr. Student, you have no pressing business, I hope?" It was Teresa. "No. What is it?" "I was going to ask you, sir, to write me another letter." "Very well, to Bowles again?" "No. This time, it's from him." "What? Stupid that I am. Not for me, Mr. Student, I beg your pardon. It's for a friend of mine, well, not a friend, but a woman I know. An acquaintance. A sweetheart, just like me. Here, Teresa, that's how it is. Will you, sir, read a letter to this Teresa?" I looked at her. Her face was troubled. Her fingers trembled. I was taken aback at first, and then it dawned on me. "Look here, my lady," I said. "There are no Bowleses, no other Teresas. You've been telling me a pack of lies. Don't come sneaking around here anymore. I have no wish to cultivate your acquaintance. Do you understand?" Suddenly, her expression changed, she became strangely terrified and confused. She began shifting from foot to foot without actually moving, her lips spluttering, as if trying to speak but unable to. I waited, curious what would come of this. And then I realized, with a heavy heart, that I had deeply misunderstood her. She had not been trying to deceive me, she had only been reaching out, in her own way, from a place of deep loneliness. "Mr. Student," she began. Then, waving her hand abruptly, she turned and left without another word. I sat there, a bitter sense of discomfort settling in my chest. I heard her door slam violently. Clearly, the poor girl was very angry. I thought it over and resolved to go to her, to invite her in and write whatever she wanted, no questions, no judgments. I entered her apartment. She was sitting at the table, elbows resting on its surface, her head buried in her hands. "Listen to me," I said. "Now, every time I reach this point in my story, I feel horribly awkward, like an idiot. Still," I repeated, "listen to me." She leapt from her seat and came towards me with flashing eyes. She placed her hands on my shoulders and whispered, "No," hummed, in her peculiar deep voice. "Look here, it's like this, there's no Bowles at all. And there's no Teresa either. But what's that to you? Is it such a hard thing for you to run your pen over paper, eh? And you, such a little fair-haired boy. There's nobody, you see. No Bowles. No Teresa. Only me. Me. That's it. And much good may it do you." "Pardon me," I stammered, utterly flabbergasted. "What is all this about? No Bowles, you say? No Teresa?" "That's right. I am Teresa." I didn't understand it at all. I stared at her, trying to figure out which one of us had lost our senses. She turned back to the table, shuffled some things around, and returned to me with an offended look. "If it was so hard for you to write to Bowles, here, take your letter. Others will write for me." In her hand was my letter, to Bowles. "Listen, Teresa, what's the meaning of this? Why get others to write for you when I already did, and you haven't even sent the letter. Send it? Where? To whom? There's no such person. I stared at her, utterly lost. What do you mean, no such person? And then she explained. Still offended, she extended her arms in a helpless gesture. There's no such person, I tell you. But I wanted him to be. She looked away. Aren't I human, like the rest of them? Yes, yes, I know. But surely, no harm was done. I mean, what harm is there in writing to someone who might not exist? Pardon me, I murmured. Couples have each other. But me? I have no one. So I imagined him. Bowles. And you helped me. You wrote the letter, and I gave it to someone to read to me. And as they read it, I imagined Bowles was real, right there beside me. And then I asked you to write a reply from him to Teresa. That is, to me. And when they read such a letter to me, I truly believe he exists. And life feels easier for me because of it. Then I understood it, at last. And my heart ached. I felt sick, miserable, ashamed. For there, not 3 yards away from me, stood a human creature who had no one in the world to love her, to speak to her kindly, to care for her. So she invented one, a friend. A lover. A dream. And in doing so, she gave herself a small, precious piece of hope. Deuce take you for a blockhead, I said to myself when I finally understood everything. And from that moment on, regularly, twice a week, I wrote a letter from Bowles, and a reply from Bowles to Teresa. I wrote the replies too. She listened to them all, each word trembling in my voice, and she would weep as though her heart would break. Her tears fell silently for words from a man who never existed. And in return, for moving her so deeply with these letters from an imaginary lover, she began to mend my socks, wash my shirts, and take care of my small belongings. 3 months later, they put her in prison, for something or other. No doubt, by now, she is dead. My acquaintance flicked the ash from his cigarette, looked up pensively at the sky, and concluded. Well, well, the more bitter things a human soul has tasted, the more it hungers after the sweet. And we, wrapped in the rags of our virtue, gazing at others through the thick fog of self-sufficiency, convinced of our own infallibility, we do not understand this. And so the whole thing turns out. Pretty stupidly. Very cruelly. The fallen classes, we say. And who, I ask, are the fallen classes? They are people, flesh and bone and nerves, just like us. We've been told this for generations. We've heard it in sermons, read it in books. And still, we do not understand. Or maybe we don't want to. Because perhaps we, too, are fallen far deeper, into the abyss of pride, self-righteousness, and the belief in our own superiority. But enough of this. It's as old as the hills. So old, in fact, it's almost shameful to speak of it. Very old indeed. Yes, that's what it is. And of her lover? He never existed. By Maxim Gorky. Some stories don't end with closure. They end with a quiet sigh. With a whisper of truth. And the echo of a soul that only wished to be loved. Teresa had no Bowles. But she had hope. And sometimes, hope is all a broken heart needs to survive. Even if only for a little while longer. Thank you for watching. If this story touched your heart, let it echo into the world. Like, comment, and share. Studio Microphone. Subscribe for more powerful stories that reveal the soul beneath the silence. Pushpin. Until next time. Take care of the lonely hearts around you.